It is said that abstinence is the greatest virtue. The reason is because it's so very hard for us to think about what to do in life rather than just go through it with habit. What I wanted to talk about today is how to avoid continuing on an addictive path in life. The reason is because I believe a lot of us don't realize the tremendous amount of impact that a singular addiction does have in our lives. It could be smoking nicotine, it could be smoking weed, it could be watching pornography, it could be binge watching television late at night even though we know we need to go to sleep. Now these types of addictions, just in general, in isolation, may seem like they're unimportant, perhaps not even worth looking at. And sure, in the scheme of a week, in the scheme of perhaps even a month, perhaps they don't have the biggest impact on our lives. But when it starts moving past that point, when it starts getting to a point where really we don't even realize we're doing it, and furthermore, we don't even register that we don't want to do it, or it's something that we don't enjoy doing, or something that doesn't make us feel good about ourselves. That's the point where addiction really starts taking a toll on the human soul as well as the body. And so I wanted to talk to you about if you are going through something in your life that you are, in quotations, addicted to, that it is quite simple to try to break that. And the truest execution of this will require a distancing from the thing, making sure that we understand in a very real way that this thing is bad for our lives. So let me break down why I believe that addiction is bad for our lives and abstinence is indeed a virtue. The reason is because if you think about the range of things that we do in a day, in a week, the things that we deem as successful or important, useful in our lives, when we do those things, we feel better about ourselves. If we go to the gym, if we show up on work on time and in a good mood, if we have ample time to spend with our family and friends, we have ample time to spend on our hobbies, and we are learning all the time. All of these things that are just, if we spend time laughing and loving people, all of these things make us feel good about leading our life. Now, to a degree, all of these things require an amount of control and discipline in order to make sure that they occur consistently, that our execution and our ability to show up is at a level where it's not a one-off thing to feel good about it. It's almost a part of us at some point. And that's why it's so very important to realize that any loss of control, any amount of automation in our day-to-day can be very dangerous. If there's eating habits that we have that we're not entirely in control of, if there's people that we hang out with that we're not aware, or we are aware they're not really all that good for us, but we keep going back as a way to feel comfortable or feel loved. These are all things that when we lose that control, when we lose that say in our life, to say, hey, you have the ability to turn it off, that you have the ability to change that. When we give away that liberty, we start to become compromised in other aspects of our life. And that's why I wanted to make this video today, is because I've realized over the years, and I've smoked nicotine, I've smoked weed, I've done the watching the pornography and the binge watching anime, and I've done my fair share of addictive habits, and to some degree I believe I have an addictive personality, but that addictive personality does not need to be used to hurt ourselves. It can be used to latch on to something really exciting, something really motivating, something that will necessarily make us into a better human being. And it's just a matter of flipping that paradigm and saying to ourselves, we have the ability to make those decisions. So now that I've established why I believe that having a singular addicted activity in your life is not necessarily the greatest thing. And just to reiterate, I'm saying that if you lose control in small aspects of your life, it will reflect on the bigger aspects that you don't want to lose control over, in order to be free, in order to enjoy your life and treat people the way that you want to treat them. Making your bed is a phenomenal way to gain control in life. I've realized this. Certain small habits, drinking a lot of water, having a gallon of water in front of you to drink every single day, and knocking it out of the park. All these little things, they build our conception of self. And at the end of the day, how we feel about ourselves is often going to be mimicked by how others feel about us. So say you are addicted to something, and you are in the stage where you would like to quit. And there's stages, there's progressions of this, and we have to walk ourselves through these progressions. In fact, maybe I can pull up progressions. That's called motivational interviewing. So, motivational interviewing generally tries to find people in different stages of their life. Basically, our ability to identify which stage we are on is going to be the way. And as you can see, I'm on my magic addiction stage. Being able to identify in ourselves which stage we are on is going to be very, very important in determining how to approach that stage. So the different stages of motivational interviewing are, there we go. So it's contemplation, and it's funny because the camera's right behind this, but maybe I can get it. Okay, here we go. So there's pre-contemplation, there's contemplation, there's determination, there's action, maintenance, and at the end there's recurrence. So if we try to go about immediately jumping into trying to change our habits, and we're actually in the pre-contemplation stage, we're actually over here. I wish I could. Oh, okay, there we go. Get this out of the way here. So, if we're at this pre-contemplation phase of our addiction, that we haven't even gone out of our way to think to ourselves that this is not the greatest thing, and these are the reasons that it's not the greatest thing, then we're not going to have the backbone. We're not going to have the structure to actually commit to a change. And so this is basic human psychology, and we need to understand that we're no different than anyone else when it comes to this, because it's personal, it's deeply inside of us. So my recommendation for trying to really stop doing something is to make sure that you are at least moving from this phase to this phase, the contemplation phase. And this phase is going to tell you all of the reasons that doing this thing is not great for you. And it's going to start building up the motivation to eventually get to this stage, the determination stage. And so I say this to you because a lot of times people are like, hey, you know, I want to, people don't even want to quit, right? Like, people don't even think it's an issue. The addiction, they're like, whatever, like, maybe one day I'll get over it. And the reality is, the sense of urgency needs to be there to make it tomorrow. Because that just means that you're letting yourself lose control of yourself for a longer period of time. My mother always said to me, why do tomorrow what you can get done today? And that to me is very, very, it's necessary in trying to do this stuff. Because once you quit one time, if you quit an activity one time, you will build confidence in yourself to be able to quit any other activity at a given time, at a given point in time. Now, the quicker we are allowed to do this, the more hope and courage we have to be able to do this succinctly and quickly whenever we find an issue in our lives. an issue of addiction perhaps, or an issue of anything else. So the pre-contemplation, contemplation, and determination stage of the motivational interviewing is fucking key. Like, if you have not sat down and wrote out the issues that you have with that habit, and really how it's going to affect you, and really what it's going to require for you to get out of it, right? That you're not going to have the backbone to actually take the action and make it last, make it maintain. You won't be able to go from action to maintenance. These three things are required for maintenance. The pre-contemplation, contemplation, and determination are required for maintenance. Okay? So action is always setting a quit date. And I'm telling you, you set a quit date for yourself, you're going to feel incredibly good about when you follow through. And that is really what we're trying to do here, my friend. You want to feel good about yourself in life, in some capacity. Now, Hazrat Ali from the Prophet's advisor said that when we feel good about the more we feel good about ourselves, the more we increase resentment towards ourselves. The more we feel good about ourselves, the more we increase resentment towards ourselves. So I say to you that don't try to do this in order to impose this on other people. Your freedom should never be imposed on other people. It should be a part of our matter. It should be a part of our aura, as an encouraging force, not as something that condescends. And so that's why I'm sharing this information with you all, because I really think a lot of people don't realize how important these three stages are, and how simple it is to literally just sit down and write it out once we get to a point where, like, this is an issue. And then taking the action is setting a quit date. Quit date, and then maintenance. Maintenance is going to come down to what are the things that you have to do in order to remind yourself that you have done this task, and that it is a good thing, and that you are happy about where you are on the other side. So for instance, for smoking nicotine, I would always suggest setting a quit date and making sure that that quit date is in front of your face, so that you can say to yourself, hey, this is how long I've not been doing this. For porn, for any activity that you have said, no, this is not good for my life, have the quit date in front of you. And then monthly, in order to make sure that this problem is taken care of in a long-term fashion, monthly or weekly, there needs to be a reiteration of the contemplation and determination. So whatever that document is that you wrote up, or whatever that piece of paper is that you wrote up, you need to look over that piece of paper and say to yourself, listen, like, these are the reasons. This is why I'm doing this. Anytime you want to quit, to go back into the addiction, you need to remind yourself of this stuff. And I speak from personal experience, and I hope this helps you. Realize that there's a lot of sneaky things out here, and a lot of people are going to be trying to use our fear in order to force us to believe that these sneaky things are actually useful in our lives. And I am here to tell you that you need to go and channel your inner you and live the life that you want to live. And don't allow a lack of pre-contemplation, contemplation, and determination. A lack of these three. Do not allow a lack of these three to affect your ability to do the actions, to maintain them, and to ensure their reoccurrence. We must do the soul searching. We must do the metacognition in order to really understand where it is that we want to go in life. And I hope this inspires you in some capacity. It's really just a piece of paper and 30 minutes away. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself.